I was walking 15,000, even 20,000 steps a day sometimes. And I thought I was in the best shape of my life, but the scale was going up. And I could not understand why that was happening. I'm thinking, if anything, if I'm not only getting 10,000 steps, but I'm getting 15 or 20, then I should be looking great. I should have no issues, fitness or health wise, but that could not be further from the truth. And I'm going to share seven of the reasons that I noticed that was keeping me from losing the weight, but not only that, causing me to gain weight so that you don't run into the same problems that I did. So, if you're ready to start your walking journey and make sure you do it the right way, get back on your journey or continue and fix where you're at with your walking journey, then make sure to like this video and we're going to make sure we get there together. And also, if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self development, and wellness. And I'm also a registered nurse. You might as well subscribe and join the tribe. And we're going to get into the very first thing that kept me from not only losing weight, but got me to gaining weight with walking around 15 to 20,000 steps a day. And that is the fact that I was simply overdoing it. Again, I started with trying to get 10,000 steps a day. And then I started inching up more and more, thinking, okay, doing this every single day is going to just lead to more weight loss and just more benefits. But what was actually happening was because I was not resting my body at all. I was becoming more inflamed. My legs were really sore, a lot of inflammation. And when there's inflammation in the body like that, the body starts to hold on to more water. So I would get on the scale and I'm like, okay, why am I gaining weight? But I was in a constant state of inflammation from not resting, not taking any breaks, just this like goal, this steadfast goal of gotta get these steps in no matter what. Even if I was tired, even if my legs were sore, my feet were sore, I was just completely overdoing it. So I had to realize that I do not need to, by any means necessary, go on these long walks and going beyond 10,000, 20,000 sometimes, and making these goals for myself that were just really kind of exhausting my body and overworking myself. So I had to reel it back in, pull it back, and not hold myself to doing this day in and day out, regardless of whether I'm tired. Maybe I already walked a lot during the day just throughout my errands, but then adding that on additionally. And again, when days that my body just needed rest, doing it regardless was causing kind of the opposite effect by not letting my body rest. So that was a major thing that I had to realize that was causing me to gain weight. And then the next thing is that I thought, okay, being that I'm doing walks for so long now, then I can basically eat whatever I want. Like there's no consequences. When it comes to eating, if I'm going to go out with my friends, I can eat whatever I want. Like I walk 10,000 steps every day, or I walk 15,000 steps, or 20 even sometimes. So I can eat whatever I want. Like I can at the end of the night have all the dessert that I want, have all the cake, all the cookies because I walk like 15,000 steps a day. Like, no, that could not be further from the truth. It does not mean that I can dig out on Chick-fil-A or Wendy's because I go for walks. Because some of the ways that I would indulge at night when it comes to dessert and snacks, like in one sitting, a sleeve of Oreos, for example, like, already undoing kind of all the calorie burn that I did, no longer in the calorie deficit. And it also did not make me feel good. So, and it's also why the scale just kept going up. So I'm wondering why that's happening because I'm going on these walks, but I'm not I'm not paying attention to my nutrition at all because it's not okay, I can go do this walk and then I can eat whatever I want and not pay attention to my nutrition because that is still a major part of it. So I had to realize if I wasn't paying attention to that, I can't expect the scale to actually go down. Like I have to actually eat healthy, eat whole foods, not eat processed foods like that. And even if I do want a sweet treat or I want, some fast food, I want to try a new restaurant, like that does not mean that I go crazy with it. Sometimes like I just will go just insane, like, okay, like instead of one, let me get another one donut. Okay, that was good. Let me get another, like just realizing that I needed to have standards even for myself. That those don't go out the window now. Like everything I know about health and eating healthy and nourishing my body does not just go out the window because now I walk so much. So that was something that I had to realize, and not rewarding myself with food and high calorie things because now I'm doing these walks. Like that is not the reward. Like the reward is feeling good, feeling energized, feeling healthy, not, crazy processed fried foods and everything like that. So that was another thing that I had to realize. And then the next with gaining weight when it came to all the steps that I was getting is that I was not cognizant of the amount of sleep that I was getting. So I'm thinking, hey, if I, have to stay up later to get these steps in, if I have to, but then wake up early the next day because the next day I'm going to be busy with work, then I was not considering my sleep whatsoever. I was just like, yeah, it has to be done. If I'm going to get like 4 hours of sleep tonight because I have to be up really early for work and I have to get my steps in, before then I'm like, hey, we'll just do it. But the lack of sleep that I was getting was also affecting me in the worst way, and it was causing my cortisol levels to be raised, and it was causing me as well to retain weight, hold on to water because I'm now stressed out. My body's stressed because we're not getting enough sleep, and I'm not allowing my body to fully recover and rest. So then, coupled with the fact that I'm doing so many steps, I'm not having any days off, and then I'm sacrificing hours of sleep a lot of days because I'm doing it regardless of how busy my schedule is. Instead of like, okay, making sure that I get those 8 hours of sleep, then I was not accounting for the sleep that I needed, and I was not accounting for that time. And maybe I was like watching TV late at night still, but just like, okay, well, I still need to get those steps in. So it doesn't matter if we're tired or not. But I had to realize that sleep is so important for recovery. The cells need to recover, muscles need to recover. Like I cannot just be out willy nilly, like walking for hours and not making sure that I get enough sleep. It just has so much to do with how my body performs overall, the energy levels that I have, and how my cortisol levels are. So that was another thing I had to make sure that I start getting ample sleep if I'm going to be doing my walks. And then another thing was I was not getting nearly enough water when it comes to my walks because, again, these things, when with the inflammation from all the walks that I'm doing, with how I was eating and the carbs, all of those things hold water weight. So without drinking enough water, then the body is also holding on to the water because it's like, hey, we need this. So that's where I would look on the scale and I'd see like, okay, we are gaining weight. And, it's because one of those reasons is because I was not hydrating myself. I was not getting enough water, coupled with the fact that not getting enough water also will make my body perceive the fact that we're still hungry, even though we ate, right? It's just like another, when we're thirsty, our body confuses that with a sense of hunger. So I had to realize like I was not getting enough water. A lot of times when I was just thirsty because I had no water the whole day, I thought that I was hungry. So then I'd go back to the kitchen for more food when in reality, I should have picked up a bottle of water. So that was something I had to realize, like getting my, gallon of water a day, getting that necessary amount of water, especially for someone like me. I am a coffee gal. I love coffee, but coffee is dehydrating. And so, coupled with the fact that like I'm outside in the sun on my walks, sweating, losing, water through my walks, holding on to water from what I'm eating, from the inflammation from the walks, and then drinking things that are dehydrating and not replenishing my cells and my body with water was just crazy and ridiculous. So how could I expect anything else but the scale to go up? So I had to quickly realize and start drinking more water. Also just helped so much with hunger. A lot of times I'd have the craziest cravings, but if I drink some water, then I am like, oh, what cookies? Where? Like I don't want that at all. Like a lot of times, like, I have friends that I'll go out with to eat. And if I'm hydrated, I'm properly hydrated, I'm not craving things as much. I'm not wanting to, oh, okay, let's get another round. I'll eat to, a normal amount, like a normal serving. But, if I'm not hydrated, I haven't drank, I'm going out, like give me all the bread, and it's still not enough. Like the bread you bring to the table, yeah, bring some more out. Like that is me, especially if I'm not properly hydrated. So that is definitely something that I've started incorporating more and helped me to actually see the scale to go down. And then another really, really crucial thing when it comes to, as much as I'm mentioning weight going up, is the fact that I was over obsessing with the scale. So when it comes to weighing myself, before would every multiple times a day get on the scale and look at that. And like if I feel like I ate a lot, like let me see how much it went up. And day in and day out, looking at the scale and like, okay, well, I walked 20,000 steps. Let me go look at the scale. I should be like lighter. So I had to really hone it in with that and realize that looking at the scale that much was not good for me mentally. And it was not good even realistically with looking to see results. So, if I did have a meal that was very salty, then the scale might go up because, again, now like my body's holding on to that excess water from the sodium. So the scale might go up from that. Also just a high carb meal, like, yeah, again, holding the body holding onto water, the scale might go up. If I'm just started doing walks, like, yeah, and I'm new to my journey, no, the scale isn't going to move right away. And then if I'm overdoing it, if my body is inflamed, yeah, it's going to be up higher. So understanding that I had to get out of my head and stop over obsessing over the scale and looking at it like every few times a day, and every time I eat something different, and like, oh, maybe I went out to eat and I went out with friends, like let me hop on the scale. And kind of understanding that one day of eating out and things like that is not going to undo all my progress. So just getting a healthier relationship with the scale, and again, not looking like day in and day out, and understanding that it is a number, but also being aware and conscious of what's going into my body, so I don't need to obsess over the scale like that in like anyway. So, and another thing that I had to also realize what was causing me to gain weight is the fact that I was not doing any strength training at one point, because I was just starting to rely on walking altogether. I'm like, walking, when you're walking enough, like it does start to build your leg muscle. So it's like, well, maybe I don't really need to do strength training like that. But the truth is, strength training is so crucial. I actually needed to lift weights, get in the gym, build muscle, because muscle burns fat. And while I'm at rest, I'm able to burn more fat just by having more muscle. So I'm actually making my fitness journey that much easier by building muscle. So that way, while I'm at rest, I'm burning fat. Like if that is my goal for fat loss, then the cardio is amazing. It's great. I'm burning the calories in the moment. With building muscle, it's so amazing because I'm burning calories at that time and I'm burning calories later. So it's like the best cheat code, in my opinion, to make sure that I'm getting strength training and lifting weights in. And again, yes, I am strengthening my muscles on my walks. And especially when I'm walking up hills, if I'm doing incline walks, I'm definitely strengthening and building my quads, my hamstrings, my glutes. However, with really building muscle as well as with my upper body, with actually growing muscle so that I'm able to burn fat, then that requires me to build in a gym and actually lift weights as opposed to only relying on my walks. So that was something that I had to realize and start incorporating in order to actually see fat loss, actually see the scale start going down, and actually start losing weight. So that was another thing. And then the next, which is such a thing to overlook, I think this is one of the biggest things for me, is that I was overindulging on healthy foods. So there are so many great healthy alternatives to a lot of the things that we eat. I love nuts, almonds, pistachios. I also love like smoothies, other healthy options like non dairy ice cream, lower calorie ice cream. But just because these things are lower calorie, are healthier, does not mean that I can eat a serving or servings for like 5 people. I had to specifically start looking at the serving size. This is something that is so underrated. I think I've just always been used to grabbing the bag of chips, grabbing the almonds, grabbing whichever, grabbing the like healthy option, and then saying, okay, I'm eating the healthier thing. So I can just eat out of the bag of almonds. I can eat the whole bag of pistachios. I can eat all like as much of this ice cream as I want because it's low calorie. It's like healthier for you. It's not, full of as much fat. But I had to realize that I still needed to be cognizant of how much of the healthy food that I'm eating. Just because it's healthy does not mean that I can eat the whole thing, right? Like it's low carb, but then I'm eating all of, the whole entire bag. So at that point, it's working against me and it's no longer working toward my fitness goals. And, whether it's a smoothie, if I'm getting the smoothie with the highest calorie amount, I'm getting all the fixins and peanut butter and chocolate, bananas. Like these can a lot of times add up. And if I'm eating that, not realizing, what I'm consuming and thinking just because it's healthier means that I can eat and have is however much of it I want, then I have to realize that is not the case. So that is a big thing that I would do before. It's like, oh, okay, dates are healthy. So yeah, I'll just like, I'm eating these instead of eating, candy or whatever. But those are very high calorie. They're delicious. So I have to eat the serving size of it. That does not mean that I eat the whole package of dates. So that was a hard lesson for me to understand is that, like, yes, it's healthy, but yes, I still have to pay attention to the serving. I still have to be mindful with my eating. And speaking of being mindful, this was another major thing when it came to wondering why I'm still gaining weight is that I would mindlessly eat. And when I say by mindlessly, I'm distracted. I'm on the phone talking to my friend and, eating at the same time, snacking at the same time. Like I'm talking to my friend, going to the pantry, and then wondering why I'm gaining weight because I'm not even paying attention to how much of certain things I'm eating. I am just like in the bag. By the time I get off the phone, I'm like, I ate that whole bag. It's like I'm literally not even consciously realizing that I'm eating so much of whichever dessert or snack that's in front of me. And also, in the same regard, if I'm watching TV, if I'm watching Netflix, we all know how that can be. You're watching a good show. I'm watching like Love is Blind, and I'm just like snacking away. I'm eating away. And when an episode is over, I'm like, no way, did I eat all of that in that one sitting? So it's so easy to overindulge, to eat, multiple servings for multiple people as one person when we're not paying attention to what we're eating, when we're distracted, talking to other people, when we're watching TV, watching a movie. So I had to become like one with when I'm eating, have that time for myself, pay attention, be mindful, and almost treat that as like a sacred time for myself, like with no interruptions, where my mind is actually processing that I'm eating and connecting with my body as we eat, as opposed to I'm eating and then like my mind, isn't having that mind body connection where we're processing that we're actually eating. And then once we're doing whichever task, like once we're done with that task, then now I'm like, did I actually eat? Like, I don't remember. And it doesn't feel as complete. And my brain is still, now wanting to have that experience of eating to like fully process it. So then I'm going back for seconds and thirds and fourths. So just paying attention when I eat, not being distracted, that in itself has done wonders for me. Just actually sitting at the table, eating my food, and like putting away those distractions, at least for that duration of time when I eat. And it has made the biggest difference. So let me know down in the comments which of these resonates the most with you, which can you relate to, where you've been like on your fitness journey, but like you're still gaining weight, because I know these are all too familiar a lot of the time. Also, make sure if you haven't to subscribe and like this video And let me know which other videos you want to see. But again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next